I'm recording this with my phone, so hopefully it turns out okay. It's maple syrup season in Minnesota. It's kind of coming to the end of the season. I had some footage before, but it didn't save properly. But I just want to go through some of the ways a person can go about doing this. If you have maple trees in your area, it's really simple to do. It does take some time and patience, but it's worth it. The maple syrup is amazing, and it's rewarding and gratifying to have the syrup and have a that you made. So there's a few ways you can do this. This is, they sell these. I got this one at Fleet Farm, and it just hangs on there and it holds the bag. And then, you just tap into the tree and pound it in. And then you just hang that right on there and it holds the bag. And then you can collect the sap that way. What I do is I put flag markers on the tree. It's kind of hard to identify them early in the spring when there's no leaves on them. When you can look for marks. I don't know if you can see that. You can look for marks. You get what they call sap suckers in this area. And it's basically like woodpeckers. And you can look for them marks. You can look for leaves that didn't fall off all the way. Or you can look at certain spots on the tree right around here. You can see how dark it is there and how dark it is here, where some of the branches and limbs and knots and stuff, it gets dark. That's actually the sap trying to push out of the tree. And that's what that is. And there's a lot of trees in this area that are like it. And then I'll take you around the other side and I'll show you another way that it can be done. This is a good setup for a smaller tree. I don't tap too small trees. Normally, about this size is about as small as I'll tap. But I'll show you another way here, and so this is another way that you can do it. And this is one I marked, and this one actually split from the ground and came up like as two trees. So what I done is I put a tap in each one. And you can actually do this, and it just runs down into a bucket. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can run a tap into one hose, or just drill two holes into the bucket like I had done. And then I put a brick on there just to keep from the wind tipping it over or an animal. But you can see the color, the sap here. You can see where it's come out. You can see right in here. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, the animals are smart. They know what's inside there. They want it too. And that's, they call them sap suckers. And, they know what's in there and they want it. And you can see right there is a bunch of it. All the way through here. They want that syrup too. Go ahead and check what's in there. A little bit, not much. But now for bigger trees, when you see this one's it divided coming up into kind of two smaller. But for bigger trees, you can actually put multiple lines in that as well. What I don't do is I don't tap the same tree year after year. I use these flags, orange. I'll flag them orange, and then you can buy these flags at Fleet or whatever. There's multiple different colors, and I'll use certain flags for the certain year, and then I'll leave these orange ones on here, and then so next year I know that the orange ones were the ones I did last year, And I'll go through in the fall and I'll mark a bunch with blue or yellow or a different color flag, and then I'll do them the next year after that. And then I'll remove the orange ones the year I'm doing the blue ones. So then the next year after that I can maybe go back to the orange. I try to wait at least 2 or 3 years and let the tree kind of recuperate. One thing you want to do is you drill these holes, and this stuff is really inexpensive. The buckets are probably going to be the most expensive part until you get to cooking it down. And there's multiple different ways you can do cooking it down, but I'll get through that in later in this video. But what you want to do, you drill the hole, and the taps always kind of taper out. They start off narrow and they kind of taper out so different bits can fit or whatever. But you want to get about a 1/2 inch into the tree. You want to get past the bark and then, towards the middle of the tree. So, but when you take the tap out now, when the season's done, you want to put something in there. You don't want to leave it open so that it's just constantly seeping. So you can take, branches that are laying next to you. Some people whittle out plugs and put in there. You can buy plugs to put in there. What I typically do is I'll find a branch of a tree that's nearby and about the size, and I'll just kind of put in there and pound it in there and just plug it up that way, and that works well. And that way you don't have to worry about too much stuff getting in there and possibly killing the tree and destroying it, and you don't have to worry about the sap and stuff just running on the ground in years to come. Like if I don't tap this one next year, I don't have to worry about the sap running on the ground because it's plugged. I can go do some other trees. And you can see on the property that I do this on that there is multiple trees that are marked. And I kind of do that. We have fires out here, and I don't want the maple trees to be cut down for firewood. I mean, if it's going to be cut down in a fire, I'd rather it be cut down and used in a smoker. That would just seem to be better. But and then I'll go over some of the cooking stuff in later in this video. So what I use is a fish and chicken wing fryer that I bought from Menards for like $36. It's propane, it's got a shallow tank, and it works well. Comes with a thermometer. In my area, 212 is boiling point. You can see it's getting a nice color already. I still got the 5-gallon bucket to cook, and I'll just keep adding until it's all gone. It's looking good though. So as I was cooking the syrup down, I got caught up in the moment and I forgot to record the ending. So I'm going to go back now and kind of finish off the process. I have towels down on my table here because some of this is kind of sticky. I mean, it is syrup. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get yourself a hydrometer, a syrup hydrometer, and that's what this is right here. And you can see the red lines there, and so basically what this is, and you can get, I got this at Fleet, my local Fleet, but you can get this online as well. And then you get this test tube. Okay, so you fill this up with syrup, and it's got this handle so you can dip it in the syrup as it's cooking without burning yourself. And you dip it in the syrup and you fill it up so that it's, about there. You don't have to worry too much, because when you drop this in there, whatever excess will fall out. You want to be careful so that you don't drop it too hard, because this is glass, it'll break. And it'll sink down to the bottom like that because it's empty now. Now when you're cooking the sap down to make the syrup, it's going to continue to sink like this until the syrup starts to become, the sap becomes syrup. When the sap becomes syrup, the density of it pushes this up and it starts to float and bob. So what you can do is you can put it down and then it'll float. You can actually tell. I do not. I've seen some people that just drop this in here, and I'm afraid that it's going to break myself. So I do not just drop it in there. What I do is I'll hold on to this and I'll set it all the way down to the bottom real slowly, and then I'll hold on, and if it starts to float, I'll kind of hold on to it and until it floats. What you want it to do is you want it to float between them two lines. And when they float between the two lines, like here, the first line here would be a little bit thinner, and this would be a little bit thicker. If you go right in the middle, but when it floats to them lines, then it's actually got the consistency and the density to actually be syrup. And so you're going to want to get, and the hydrometer that I have here, I paid $17 for, and the test tube I think was like 11. But basically you're just paying for the stainless steel on that. And then it does have some instructions that come in there, and you know, it tells you how to use it. And what it recommends that you draw a line where the red line is, because if the red line in the tube starts to move from where you drew the line, then it's time to get a new one. The paper inside the tube will actually move after time. And I think I paid $11 for, and you can get these off tapmytrees.com. And so, like I said in the beginning, it's something that we have we have the maple trees in our backyards. So why not? Why not take advantage of them and use the resources? So it's not a lot of work. It's just a lot of time, and for the taste, it's absolutely worth it. And I would recommend it for anybody that has maple trees in their backyard. I hope you guys were able to learn something from this video, and I'd love to see more people get involved in activities like this. It's a resource we have right in our backyard, and not enough people take advantage of it. Thanks for watching.